And this one's a 4x deck building game in space where players are going to be competing to try and earn the most victory points by the end of the game. And there is a whole variety of ways that you can earn victory points, but it's going to be largely determined by the faction that you're playing as, because players are going to be playing as asymmetrical factions that each have their own strengths and weaknesses. They also have their own ideologies and goals that determine the way that they score victory points. These are typically going to have you completing different objectives, like controlling or making alliances with different systems, establishing colonies and outposts, placing out merchant ships, spreading your culture, or acquiring technology and developments. And finally, there is also the concept of corruption in this game, which could penalize or reward your faction, depending on where they fall on the moral scales. What's really neat about this game is that it can end in either a peaceful ending where every faction competes individually, or it could end in a war where factions can form alliances amongst themselves and then win or lose as a team. Of course, there is also a shared board where players are going to be taking their actions and fighting over the different systems, and the game does play over a series of rounds. And the way that this works is at the start of each round, some dice are going to be rolled in order to determine which of the systems is going to be affected for that round. And what this means is that if that system is unexplored, it's going to be flipped to its explored side, and this also may involve placing some different tokens on it depending on what's applicable to that system. If the system is already explored, then the owner of that system is going to be gaining 1 level of corruption. In addition to this, an event card will also be drawn that can affect the game and the players in a variety of different ways, such as triggering different hostile entities, increasing tension or corruption, or providing different bonuses or technology for that round. Players will then take turns performing as many actions as they like in any order, with the exception of the explore action, which is usually only done once per turn. But like I said, this is also a deck building game, and you'll be able to use the cards that you have in order to gain some basic resources to help augment these different actions, or the cards might also grant you with some basic actions as well. And there are also other cards that are used in other situations, such as combat or interrupting other players' actions. The main actions allow players to explore nearby systems, to expose new resources or threats, build different types of units for military or trade, or even place those out on the board or manipulate their placement out on the board, occupy or gain control of different systems by placing outposts or colonies or making different alliances. You can draft new technology cards to add to your deck to make it even more powerful, and you can either get these from your faction-specific cards or from a shared general deck. You can also claim alien tech if you do meet the requirements to do so. And of course, you can engage in combat to attack different systems, factions, or different events that are presented to you. And all of these different actions could have different implications on the corruption that you gain or lose depending on your decisions. And there are also actions that do allow you to manage your corruption in order to make sure that it doesn't get too far out of hand. At the end of your turn, you're going to be discarding any cards that you played and then drawing back to a hand size of 5. And the end of the game is triggered once all the event cards run out, and players are going to be adding up all their victory points, and the player or team that has the most is the winner. And if this one sounds interesting to you, definitely feel free to check it out, and I will have it linked down below.